Hi, I'm Paul Farica, President and Chief Storyteller at WordWrite. Welcome to the first episode in our video series on crisis communication. I speak frequently on this topic, and when I do, the title for my talk is Avoiding the Worst Headline You Never Want to Read. This short video series is all about effective crisis planning. In each of the 5 episodes, we'll share a tool you can use to begin the process of avoiding the worst headline you never want to read about your organization. Let's get started with the most fundamental question. We know a crisis is a big deal, a negative event that stops business as usual and demands immediate attention from leadership. It's a situation that requires all hands on deck to protect your organization's reputation, its finances, and most importantly, its stability. In 2 decades of this work, our team has learned that crises can be categorized in 2 major ways. Let's review them quickly. First, these 4 categories. Sudden. These crises come out of nowhere. Could be a natural disaster, a tech failure, even an accident. It's just something that hits hard and fast. Second, perceptual. This is not a classic crisis. It's more about how a public perceives something about your organization rather than the facts of the matter. Frequently, these are reputation issues that spiral if not managed well. Third, crises that start as an issue and build over time. Maybe it's a problem that's been in the background and it's finally reached the boiling point. And yes, sometimes there are just things that are plain bizarre. Think of something completely unexpected, something that no one could have predicted. The good news, according to the PwC Global Crisis Survey, is that depending upon your industry, 60 to 80% of crises can be predicted, which means you can plan in advance either to avoid them or to better manage them. At our firm, to help this process, we categorize crises into these 4 buckets. Acts of nature. This could be a hurricane, a flood, a tornado, even a volcano eruption. It's a crisis that no person caused, yet you still have to address it. Acts of man. These crises are typically the result of human error or maybe a bad decision, and they can be tied to something a person or a group of people either did or did not do. Acts of nature made worse by man. Follow the news for any period of time, and you'll see plenty of examples of natural disasters made worse by something a person or a group of persons did or did not do. Think of a poor response to a disaster that injures or costs people their lives. And finally, acts of man made worse by nature. There are those crises where human decisions or errors are made worse by nature. Say an oil spill that spread far and wide by a hurricane. In many cases, long before something becomes a crisis, it's an issue. Now, an issue doesn't necessarily stop business as usual, and it might not be a long-term negative impact. But here's the catch. If not managed well, issues can turn into crises. Think of an issue as anything that happens that opens a gap between what your stakeholders expect and what's actually happening within your organization. It's a warning sign, a signal that there's a disconnect to address. The good news is that if you manage issues well, you can actually strengthen your relationship with stakeholders. It's a chance to close that gap and align your actions with the expectations that employees or customers or investors or partners or even regulators might have of your organization. Are you ready to get started on this journey? Download the tool attached to this post to start your effective crisis planning so that you can avoid the worst headline you never want to read. And if you want to know more, reach out to me personally or to our team through our website, by email, or through our social media. See you next time.